Beloved heart, before we begin, I have a special gift for you. If you've been feeling the intensity of Earth's rising plasma light codes and want to stay centered in your body and heart and energy field, I've created a free light language quantum grounding activation just for you. This transmission will help you stabilize, integrate, and align with the new frequencies flowing onto the planet. Simply join my mailing list. See the link that's in the show notes to receive instant access. Let's ground into the light together. This is the transfiguration of the new you.
Hello, beloved. Welcome back to another episode of Monica Bermudez. I'm your host for this podcast. And in this special episode, I want to talk about the divine masculine of protection and actually an invocation of the divine masculine for us. Because as the divine feminine is really rising and coming in much stronger, there is this calling, I would say, of divine masculine that I've been feeling more of the energy of it. And I'll get into first, what is the difference between a divine masculine and a toxic masculinity, which is one of the outdated versions that we're also undergoing and releasing at this time. And then we'll do like a guided meditation as well in relation to the invocation of the divine masculine. So the divine masculine, now, if this episode does resonate with you, of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel and write a lovely 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform if you're listening to this on a podcast. So today's episode, we're going to dive in deep, and it's timely, and it's honestly, it's something many people are feeling internally, but may not yet have, the language for it. So we're going to talk about, what I'm calling the divine masculine during the rise of divine feminine, and it's not from a lens of being romantic or a fantasy or spiritual performance type of thing, but from the lens of energetic restoration, sacred balance, protection, and leadership, and action, spiritual warrior, and movement, and emotional maturity, and the healing of distorted masculine energy on this planet. And because as the divine feminine rises, the divine masculine is also being called to rise. And the opposite of divine masculine energy is a toxic masculinity, which is not healthy structure, is not healthy, leadership, is more aggressive. It's not a healthy way of protection, but is more of control and holding on to things. But distortion, is that control, it's that domination, it's that emotional suppression, manipulation, the power struggles, and the ego over the heart. I would say the head is more like of the masculine, toxic masculine energy when we're too much in our head. And the heart is to me more of the feminine energy. So it's fear over presence. And it's important to note too that this is not based on any gender whatsoever, because we all harness the energy of the divine masculine and the divine feminine within. So many people are starting to see, very clearly this difference as well. And in the rise of divine feminine, which I do consider to be one of the most powerful energies that we all harness within ourselves. So for years, people have been carrying, so many people are starting to tap in more into this strong, feminine energy as well, which is part of the awakening, I would say. Is opening spiritually, healing ancestral wounds and breaking those cycles, remembering intuition, learning discernment, and stepping into this creativity of leadership, softness, power, wisdom, and embodiment. And it's also our sensitivity. But, sensitivity is our superpower, and it is one of our strongest super abilities that we hold within ourselves. The divine feminine is no longer willing to shrink, and she is coming in a very fierce and stronger way. Not in an aggressive way, but more like of this sovereignty, of this assurance power, of this remembering of who she is, and that is a clear activation. So, and when authentic feminine energy rises, something profound happens, and energetically, the universe begins calling forward the healed masculine energy also. And, it's not the wounded masculine, not the performative masculine, not the emotionally unavailable masculine pretending to be evolved, and, not this abandonment type of thing. Um, but, the divine masculine, the masculine that protects without controlling, that leads without the domination, provides safety without the ownership, and creates the stability without suppressing this feminine power. So, building structures that are in support of the divine feminine power energy to be in her flow, in her creativity. These are all very important points. And like I said, divine feminine energy to me has always been a very powerful force of energy. So, with that force of energy, there comes this inclusivity, that this conformity of this natural way of being, where the divine masculine naturally starts to evolve as well, to want to be that protective energy of the safety net for her evolution, for going in much deeper and deeper into this blossoming as well. So, divine masculine energy is again, not about the gender, but it's an energetic principle. Someone can be biologically male and deeply disconnected from divine masculine energy, and someone can be female and embody a healthy masculine traits in balance. Divine masculine energy includes the presence, the integrity, the accountability, the emotional maturity, the sacred leadership, and the stability and protection, honesty, discernment, the grounded action, and devotion to the truth and the authenticity of your soul. The divine masculine creates a safe container. It's very honorary, nobility. It's not something to contain someone in a cage or a container. And there is a difference. A cage controls, sacred container protects and supports the expansion. So the healed masculine says, I will stand beside your light, not compete with it. I will protect peace, not create chaos. I will become trustworthy energetically, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. That is divine masculine energy. On the other hand, though, the toxic masculinity is, the shadow side of things, which is simply, being overly masculine or aggressive. This is an important distinction because toxic masculinity is distorted masculine energy disconnected from the heart. It often manifests as control, aggression, manipulation, emotional shutdown, narcissism, and dominance, lack of accountability and power games, the control of the games, the fear of vulnerability and the possessiveness, false superiority, and competition with the feminine energy, competition with one another. Whereas divine masculinity fears the rise of the feminine, the divine masculinity actually honors the rise of the divine feminine energy. And the toxic masculinity seeks power over others, whereas divine masculinity seeks alignment with truth and authenticity. Toxic masculinity creates emotional instability and doubt, whereas divine masculinity creates that safety net. And many people right now are being asked spiritually, can you discern the difference? So it is a safety net within the quantum field energy of this divine feminine energy that is coming in much stronger. And because charisma is not the same as integrity, intensity is not the same as devotion, control is not the same as protection, and attention is not the same as sacred presence. So, why all of this matters right now is that we're living through a collective recalibration. Old relationship templates are collapsing, and the power over dynamics are being exposed. Distorted leadership structures are crumbling, and many people are no longer available for relationships built on fear, confusion, inconsistency, and emotional immaturity. The feminine is becoming more discerning. That is the divine feminine energy. Or you could just simply say the sacred feminine energy is all the same. And, not being so close hearted, but being more into attune within your own heart. Discernment is not bitterness, but discernment is more of a wisdom. Whereas the divine masculine is being spiritually initiated right now in profound ways. Many masculines and feminines are being pushed into confront the emotional avoidance, the ego identities, the trauma patterns, the disconnection from the heart, fear of commitment, and that fear of responsibility, and the distorted ideas of strength. And because true strength is not emotional numbness, true strength is grounded presence. The strongest energy in the room is often the calmest. So the sacred role of protection is that one thing I keep, noticing is that the divine feminine, well, first of all, we can't carry everything alone. So there's always this dual force of energy that creates the sacred union of oneness, of the one consciousness, the Christ consciousness, you call it. Um, so it's carrying in that extra supportive energy. And this does not mean that there's any dependency in any way. It means there is a sacred partnership. A healthy masculine energy creates a safety net in this quantum field, a stabilizing frequency, a grounded presence where the feminine can expand creativity, spirituality, emotionally and energetically without constantly remaining in survival mode. Protection is sacred, but protection is not ownership. Protection says, I honor your soul. Ownership says, you belong to me. And those are very different frequencies. Divine masculine energy understands that love is stewardship, not possession or obsession. So, collectively, though, there is this healing that is happening also between the masculine and feminine energy. There's been some force of abandonment, I would say, that has occurred in the cosmic and the cosmos and the galactic form that we may have forgotten. Um, but it is still there in some distorted, twisted way in the energetic field of the DNA. And so many people have these wounds around masculine energy, and many people grew up with absent, masculine energy as well, whereas others experience harshness, criticism, unpredictability, manipulation, or emotional neglect. And, this all relates to the patriarch energy, the father energy, divine patriarch. So it's all related, to the whole balance and the protection, not feeling that protection. Um, and so, because of this, many people learn to overfunction, to be in this survival mode, overprotect themselves in hyper independence or distrust support entirely. And healing is possible. It may not happen all at once or, all of a sudden. And part of the collective healing that's happening right now is a restoration of trust between the masculine and that feminine principles. It is getting to reconnect with one another and um, I guess get to know each other again. So I would say it's like this sacred union honeymoon that is, but to get to that honeymoon, we have to get past some of these wounds and these shadows that still keep popping up sometimes, there's a lot of releasing that is happening with that. Um,
Beloved, if you're craving deeper connection, intuitive expansion, and consistent energetic support, join me inside the Frequency Resonance Lounge. This is a monthly Master Heart Circle, moon ceremonies that includes the full and new moon, and a private community for connections. Link is in the show notes.
It's not about perfection, it's a restoration because ultimately these energies were never meant to war against each other. They were meant to work together in collaboration, in union. And the feminine brings this intuition, this creation, this flow, this vision, and this nurturing and spiritual depth. Whereas the masculine brings this grounding and this structure, this protection and direction and stabilization. And together they create this very sacred balance with one another. So now I'm going to jump into this guided meditation of calling forward the divine masculine, and then we're going to conclude with a declaration. But it's calling forward the divine masculine of protection. So take a deep breath in and gently exhale. And now you may, pause as long as you desire to integrate some of these messages and energies. But I'm going to move at a little faster pace. Um, and you can always come back and re listen to this as well. So allow yourself to settle into this moment. Allow your energy to soften. Allow your spirit to become still. Breathe in deeply once more and release. And imagine yourself standing in a sacred field of golden light beneath the stars. The earth beneath your feet feels alive, ancient, loving, and protective. You are safe here. You are held here. You are guided here. Now imagine a radiant pillar of divine light descending from above, surrounding your entire being. This light clears fear. It clears instability. It clears survival patterns. It clears distorted relationship dynamics. It clears confusion, chaos, manipulation, and emotional imbalance. You no longer need to carry everything alone. You no longer need to remain in constant energetic defense. Now feel a grounded protective energy approaching gently behind you, in front of you, on your right side, on your left side, and now into all your multidimensional aspects. It's strong, it's calm, it's present, it's steady. This is divine masculine energy in its healed and sacred form. It's protective, it's grounded, it's honorable, it's safe. Feel this energy standing behind you like a sacred guardian, and all around you like this bubble of white light holding you, creating stability, creating peace, creating emotional safety, creating energetic protection. Feel your nervous system relax as you realize you no longer need to brace for instability. The divine masculine protects your peace, supports your expansion, honors your intuition, respects your boundaries, and stands in integrity. Now silently repeat to yourself, I call forward healed divine masculine energy. I call forward sacred protection. I call forward grounded leadership and emotional maturity. I release distorted masculine patterns from my life. I release chaos, manipulation, control, and imbalance. I welcome safety. I welcome peace. I welcome divine support. I allow myself to be protected without being controlled. I allow sacred balance into my life. I trust what is aligned for my highest good. Take a deep breath. Feel the golden light surrounding your entire body, and you are protected. You are shielded. You are guided. You are supported. And now slowly return into this present moment. So allow yourself to receive that energy of protection from the divine masculine energy that is already within you. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode on my podcast. This conversation is powerful because we are witnessing a collective transformation in how masculine and feminine energies relate to one another on this planet. The old paradigms are dissolving, And what is rising now is deeper discernment, sacred leadership, and emotional maturity and energetic integrity. So if this episode resonated for you, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on my podcast platform and write a 5-star review. And I look forward to connecting with you through other ways. Until next time, continue trusting your path, continue honoring your discernment, and continue rising into the highest expression of your soul. And I will catch you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click like, save, and share with others so they can also experience what you just experienced. And stay tuned for some more high vibe episodes. And I'll be connecting with you in the next quantum field. Sending you so much love.